Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cockerel cast. I'm Jason Thompson, current Edinburgh Northern player, and I'm joined as usual by co-host Michael Mawdsley. How are you, Michael?
I'm good, thanks very much. How are you?
I'm very well, Tat. And joining both of us for episode 9 is a player comfortable right across the back line. He's on hundreds of appearances for Northern and still going, providing both edge and medical advice. Not only with a reputation on the pitch, he will be found at every Northern social event of note and still a keen tourist, trying his best to get lost on each one. Hopefully not losing control of the club accounts, however. It's our current Honorary Secretary, Wilson Craig. How are you this evening, Wills?
Not too bad, Jason. I'm not Honorary Secretary, I'm afraid. I think that's Neil Leach. Treasurer.
Treasurer. I do have Treasurer down. I don't know why I said Secretary. Apologies. So,
no worries. I don't want to be stealing Neil's thunder.
Fair enough. So moving on. What have you got to drink then?
Well, I'm a big fan of the Williams Brothers beers we have at the club. So I've got an American Pale Ale, iconic. And then I've got a little whiskey here as well. The Singleton, which bizarrely I'm just realizing the master of their malts is called Craig Wilson. So quite appropriate.
Well done.
Someone has got my name the right way, right?
Is that one of your favourites, Michael?
Yeah, I have had the Singleton before. It's all right, actually. It's quite tasty.
Yeah, it's nice and smooth, not too challenging.
Yeah, I thought I would honour our guest today and drink a Guinness. So that's in honour of Wilson. I think it'll be the last time that'll be appearing on the pod from me.
Well done, and that's a snap for me too. Pretty bog standard. So, firstly, Willie, your lockdown situation, how are you managing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Got a little office set up here. My work, we're continuing to work, so not being furloughed or anything, just working full time. Do find that you probably do need more hours now. You're just sat at that desk and there's not much else to do, so you just work. Which is a bit frustrating. Looking forward to getting back out and socialising, meeting people. The Edinburgh Northern poker nights are sort of keeping me going on the Friday night, a few beers, bit of rubbish chat and losing money to people that you think you shouldn't be losing money to.
Fantastic. So we'll crack on, Wilson. So I don't know if you've been following the cast at all. We kind of open up by asking about your backstory. So where are you from? What do you do for work in terms of your career? And I suppose, do you have a significant other?
All right, well, I'll probably start off with where I'm from Londonderry, Northern Ireland, from the same place as Jason. And as you might see, Jason is wearing a Exeter Foyle College rugby top this evening. So myself and Jason went to the same school. So I think we were about 6 years apart, Jason, 7 years apart. So I think I might have been in upper sixth when Jason was in first year. So I don't remember crossing his path, but perhaps we did back then. Came over here for university. University of Edinburgh, completely fell for Edinburgh. I've stayed since. Worked a few places, worked for Heineken, which is quite good fun. Free beer and things, but I'm now working in the banking industry. So just work on top Lothian Road, so it's very handy. So it's going all right. For me, I'm actually in lockdown with my girlfriend. We only just recently started living together, and then lockdown came around. So that's been the ultimate test, really. But there's been no threat to life yet, so okay. A few arguments, but
surviving so far.
Fantastic.
Excellent. So we'll move on then to your rugby background. You can lead us through maybe school or previous clubs.
Okay, so I haven't played for that many clubs properly. So obviously at school is Foyle College, which just, as you know, it's a pretty small school rugby-wise. It's not one of the big schools. And quite often you're coming up against the big Belfast schools or the big rugby schools in Northern Ireland, and you get a couple of good hidings every season. But every so often you'd pull some really good results out. So I really enjoyed my time at Foyle Rugby. Bizarrely though, when I first started, despite being the fastest kid in my year, I started my rugby at hooker, which my throwing was pretty rubbish. I wasn't exactly a physical presence in the front row, so I'm not sure what their theory was behind that. But then when I think it was when I was 13 or 14, they moved me to the wing, and then started running in tries. I was pretty quick, a bit jinky. So yeah, I really enjoyed my rugby at Foyle. Went to some sort of trials and stuff, Ulster skills stuff, and that was a really different experience, because you were going from playing with guys who were okay, decent guys and an okay team, and then you'd be playing with guys who were really, really good. And it was great. It was actually really interesting, because you could run lines and you knew these people you were playing with then would find you. So it was completely different from playing like a little small rugby school and then going and playing with like really talented players. I think like I was lucky enough to get to the final Ulster trial at under 18, but it was a brutal game. I think I just about crept on the team for North Country, but it was some really talented people in there, like Ian Humphreys and Gareth Steenson were the two fly halves. Roger Wilson playing in that game. A few other guys went on, professional Andrew Maxwell, who played Edinburgh and Ulster. There was some really good talent, and it was good to play with them. But by the time I got to 18, I just wasn't good enough really to play with those guys. I think I was 16. I was thereabouts with them, but they just grew. You know, the other wingers and the fullbacks and stuff, they grew in our foot, and I was just a bit outmatched by that stage. It's a bit sad when you peak at your rugby at 16. It's all downhill after that, but it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was an experience. Then played a little bit for our local club, City of Derry, in the All Ireland League. Made one appearance for their first team in the All Ireland League, and it was against a club called Ballynahinch. And Ballynahinch's captain was a guy called Andy Ward, who was also the Ireland captain. And I remember one day, like their fly half put a huge bomb up in the air, and I was underneath it, and I could literally hear the footsteps pounding towards me. So I managed to catch the ball, but absolutely smashed by the Irish captain. Back rower knocked me back about 6 or 7 meters. I think we got the ball back, but that was a great introduction to senior rugby when you're a 17, 18-year-old getting smashed by the Ireland captain. It was a learning experience. After that, came to university and went to the university trials and went to early training at Edinburgh Uni. But there were just so many people there. You weren't really getting coached. There was just too many people, too few coaches, and I didn't really enjoy that. So I played a load of other sports with a uni, but player coached the Polycalls team and played a little bit. Then on holidays, I would come back, play for City Derry. I'd play the under-21s in their night fixtures, and maybe some of the stuff for the twos, City Derry. But then when I finished university, that's when I came to Northern, and I've been a Northern boy since.
Fantastic. And I suppose the question, you obviously talked about quite a long kind of rugby career from school. I actually remember playing at Foyle on a tour in 2004, it must have been. I remember it being very windy because your school and pitches are quite high up above the river.
Yeah, they're pretty exposed. They're built up. They're actually really good pitches. Like we very rarely had games called off because they were sand based, properly built up. They drain. So they were pretty good pitches, but exposed. Yeah. It got cold out there. Sometimes.
Yeah, I remember getting absolutely thumped, which was fun. But yeah, so you've talked about quite a long kind of rugby career. Why rugby? Of all the sports that you could have picked, you've talked about having other interests in sports. So why is it parents? Is it the fact that you were maybe physically well lended to it?
Mainly it's because it's what you played at Foyle. Foyle was a relatively small school. I think we actually had more girls than boys, so there wasn't actually that many boys there to play. So we couldn't support a football team and a rugby team, so it was rugby. But yeah, I loved it. I took to it straight away, bizarrely. I remember when I was a young kid, I was a bit nervous about going to play in rugby because I'm a bit claustrophobic, and I thought, being at the bottom of all these rough people, I'll hate it, I'll freak out. But I found I really loved it, and I had a reasonable aptitude for it, quite jinky. Actually loved the contact, loved tackling people, loved hitting people. Just loved it, just loved everything about it. The physicality, but also the skill levels of it. I really, really loved it. I've played so many sports. I'll play anything. I love a game. I love sport, but rugby will always be my real passion, real love affair for it.
Fantastic.
Of course. So a wee bit of self-indulgence here. When I was moving to Edinburgh and looking for a club, I posted on the BBC Scrum 5 message boards. So this was well before Facebook and Twitter. I think I had 13 replies, 9 of which were players or people recommending Northern, including yourself, Wilson, which really made an impression. But how about yourself then? How and when did you learn about the best club ever?
Well, actually, so when I finished university, I always knew I wanted to go back and play rugby, even though I didn't play a huge amount during university. And at the time, I'm not sure if they still have it. If you went on the SRU website, you would enter in your postcode. I would bring up the nearest clubs to you by distance from your address. It was so really useful. So up popped in Relief and Edinburgh Northern, and so I think it was a really, really horrendous August night when I went down to Northern, and I think it was only like 3 or 4 guys that turned up. But they took my details and stuff and went, "Oh, we're not going to be trained tonight because it was torrential." So they took my details and stuff, and then I actually went up and trained in Relief, and they were actually a decent bunch of boys. And I think they were going on a wee mini tour that weekend, and they invited me along, but I couldn't make it. And then Northern got in touch, and so yeah, I almost became an reliever, which would have been terrible. But thankfully, I think it was the big dog got in touch with me and got me down to Northern and got me into staying down there. So yeah, close shave that one. Could have been on the wrong end of the El Botanico.
I didn't even know that, actually, which is quite interesting. I suppose that's quite interesting. You kind of said that you were at Relief and then you picked Northern because they got in touch. You've been around for, it must be 2007, 2006?
No, I joined August 2004.
2004, wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive, actually. So I'm trying to work out the years. That's 16 years? What do you think?
16 years. Yeah.
16 years. What do you, it's almost a career. What do you think is Northern's unique selling point? Because you must have seen so much in those 16 years.
Oh, there's so much. Like I've been watching the other casts, and like a lot of guys talk about, how much fun it is and how brilliant people are. So I'm not going to go over that. The one thing that really impresses me, I think there's a place for everyone at Northern. Like I've played alongside some brilliant players who could play at a much higher level than they have for Northern. But equally, there's guys who've come down who've never played rugby before but want to give it a shot, and they're treated equal. They're treated the same. Mm-hmm. We're happy to have everyone, and we will put time and effort into coaching up guys who've never played before. Or even if you like this guy's never going to play once, he could be a really good regular twos player first. We will coach you up. We'll put our time and effort in, and hopefully you'll give us back on the pitch. So that's what I really like about the club.
That's quite interesting, because obviously that's one of the big things for me, actually, is that you do get players who come in the door who've never touched the ball in their life, like Christian's an example, who came down being a footballer and is now, a fully fledged prop. Is there someone maybe that you can think of as an example of that from, beginning to kind of, maybe not outstanding rugby player, but someone you can maybe think of from that kind of, that bracket from your time?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I think we've had a couple of footballers come down. I'm struggling to think off the top of my head.
I think somebody who made a decent effort was Dino, obviously not with us anymore, Captain Lismore, but really came. I don't think he sort of knew what position or whatnot. Watched enough rugby, obviously, but and to be fair, made it onto our first 15. It was my time as captain.
Well, you only need to look now that he's captaining, Lismore. So obviously that's kind of, I think we can probably claim all that development. Going on to that.
Yeah, I don't think though. What point I'm trying to make? It doesn't. We're not. It's not the point of getting someone to the first team. It's just getting someone who's playing rugby constantly and they're enjoying it. I don't mind. We don't mind what level that is, as long as guys are coming down, enjoying their rugby, and enjoying the pints afterwards.
I agree.
So, quite unfair of a question, really. But would there be one thing you'd change about Northern?
Oh, it's a tricky one. Not much really. I do think if we could get the council to help us with like a really good lighting situation, that'd probably help. It's got a lot better recently, and I think the lights that we've got now really facilitate a decent training session. There was a number of years there where it was really tough to train, especially as a back, because we'd lit a really small area of the pitch, and your centres might still be in it, but your wings and fullbacks would be in the pitch black darkness somewhere. So the lighting situation, if we could maybe get the council to help us to have something more permanent set in, would be great. But I'm not going to hold my breath.
Fantastic. I mean, I completely agree with that with the lighting in terms of the backs. It also doesn't help that a lot of the halfbacks over our time playing together, Wilson, tend to rattle the ball at you from the light into the darkness, and it's never that easy to catch. So I probably owe you an apology this season, and you probably owe me an apology from other seasons. I suppose the next question is, having there for 16 years, do you have any favourite kind of games, season, tournaments that you've played in from your time with Northern?
Oh yeah, there's been some absolute crackers through the years. I think one that really stands out for me is actually a sevens tournament we did, and our tournament's still fantastic to this day. But if you go back like 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, standard is even higher. Some of the teams we were getting, like the British Army would bring an amazing team down and things, and Harriets and Watsons would bring actually their first seven and things. And I remember we looked at our group and we were like, oh, we had two really good teams in our group, and we thought we've got a real chance of winning the Palm Plate, the third competition. But then we went and actually won one of our pool games, and we got in the second level competition. But we actually went on a really good run, and we ended up winning it. We beat Scorpion in the final. But it was great. We just had a fantastic team, and I think probably the biggest crowd I've played in front of at Northern, because everyone crowded around the pitch. There's maybe like 400 people crowded around the pitch, and it went right to the wire, and I was lucky enough to get sort of winning score in that one. So it sort of ball came out, I'm sort of the pivot in the middle, and then I looked up and I saw it was one of their forwards in, and he was looking a bit tired, so I just went out through the step and went through under the posts. But it was a bit nerve-wracking because I came off then because I was absolutely knackered, and there was another 40 seconds to go yet, and it was pretty nerve-wracking, but the guys held on, and so we won that second competition. I think that's the best we've ever done in our sevens. So yeah, that one really sticks out.
And in terms of, I suppose, the sevens is a huge part of it. I can actually see in my head a picture of that team. I think it's Liam Barry, Spills. Is that the?
No, sorry, it's a wee bit, a bit more before your time. That's one. So it was like with Big Dog, John Glover, Christoph Des, I think was our scrum jar. Myself, Jimmy Hackett, Luke Lewis, Alex Laird, Chris Aiken, I think was the squad. It was I think maybe Spills was in there. Spills was probably in there too. It was a cracking team. It was probably the best sevens team I've ever played in. We had a really nice balance between the backs and forwards and that.
Some big names there. I suppose going obviously to the bread and butter of the club, which is the domestic season. Do you have any highlights from playing kind of that's not the right word, kind of club rugby against, any teams that you particularly enjoyed playing against, or particular standout matches?
Probably the standout match again. It's one that's going back a number of years. It was a cup game, and it was back before they had this sort of. Even though now it's sort of like a seeded, it's done on levels of ability. So This level is one cup, and it was before that, and it was just one big cup competition, and we got drawn White Craigs, who are a pretty decent team, and I think at the time they were 3 or 4 divisions above us, and they came down to our place, and we just put in an absolute barnstorming performance. Some of the other guys were playing with a guy called John O'Leary, a big angry Irishman, and he just upped his game. Beyond levels I'd seen him play before. He was just smashing people out of the way, but before he was brought down, he was just getting these crazy offloads off, and people were just running off him, and we stopped. And we didn't just beat this team. I mean, we hammered them, and they were shell shocked, and that was a team 3-4 divisions above where we were, and it was the single best game I've ever seen a Northern team play. It was fantastic.
White Craigs are a big side in the west of Scotland. They're kind of up. They're not up there with West and stuff, but they are. I remember playing against them as a kid and stuff, and it's an impressive scalp to take as well for a regional side. We'll go into your final kind of memory, and one that's kind of as a back, probably close to our hearts more than Jason would understand. Do you have any tries that you remember that stand out to you? You've talked about the one in the sevens, obviously, but
yeah, that one says there's probably two that I really like. There was, I think one, I can't remember who we were playing, but we were about just getting our own 22 and we had a line out, and we called this really weird move where I was a blindside wing and I would come in and take it off inside the 10, and it worked a treat, and I got it and I went through, but I was expecting to link up with the guys outside, but I don't think Alex had told the rest of the backs what the move was. So I break through this gap, and it worked beautifully, but I'm on my own, and there's no one there, and I'm desperately looking around for someone, because it's a really long way to go. and in the end, I was like, no one's coming to help me, so I just had to draw in the fullback in the wing and then try and gas them on the outside. So I made it, but it was a long, long way. That was a really good one. The other one I really loved was a game, I think it was like Cumnock or someone at our place, and we had Dougal Nicholl on the wing, I love Dougal, he's brilliant, but you never know quite what he's going to do. So he was on the wing and I was a fullback, and they'd kick the ball deep to us, and it was in our own 22. And back in the day, I never used to kick the ball. I was like the one fullback who would never kick the ball, so it went over back deep in the corner, but Dougal knew that I was going to run it out. So I ran it out. He ran a switch off me around the back, give it to him. We beat a couple of guys. Then he moved back in field again, and I went outside him, and he just took two guys in and just popped it out the back door to me. And I sprint down the line and dive in the corner. That was probably my favourite. The 15 strike for Northern.
Yeah, I mean that's
because it's typical running it from the back.
I mean that is something that in my kind of 7 years of playing with you, that's the one thing I would always remember you for, is that your trademark is your lack of fear with running the ball from deep. You'll always try something. You'll always try and beat a man and so on. So that sounds a lot like you, which is a compliment. I think I'm trying to play your compliment in a roundabout way. Never having the fear to run, even if it's infuriating to try and follow you, and work out where you're going next. So
yeah. So off the pitch then, Wills, do you have a favourite Northern night out or event that we've hosted or tour that you've been on?
Oh man, there's so many brilliant ones. I look back at it. The school sports day was probably one of the highlights, which is brilliant. I think that was run by Dougal Nicholl and Ross Hornsey, and that was just hilarious. That was so much fun. Or the summer day we had where we had the slip and slide in the park, probably entirely illegal. We got like 50 meters of tarpaulin, laced it up with lubricant of some sort, don't know what that was, bungee rope tied to a tree, just launching people down it. That was brilliant, because it was a full day thing, and then going into the night, party late into the night, down the bunker. It was great days, and the tours, there's just, I think I've counted up the tours, and I've 21 tours of Northern across gents and main tours. And they've all had their moments. I think Budapest, the original one in Budapest would probably come out on top, because it was just crazy. And the stories from that tour just gone in the Northern legend now.
It's quite interesting you say that, Wilson, because I think that certainly my time at the club and Jason as well, you have become a bit of a touring legend yourself. I myself have been guilty of the odd faux pas, but it seems to be every tour that you go on that you cause some kind of event. We've actually got a couple of questions from people about tours from Northern. My personal highlight is the watermelon in Hamburg. When I can't even remember why we did it, but because Jason we just bought it, didn't we, wandering around, because I'd broken my foot sofa diving, and we just put it on you, and that was the night with the kids as well. Actually, that was very funny. I'm just going to find this question. Actually, it's from one of our overseas members, so they don't have to worry about your retribution. It's from Handy Andy, He would like to ask you, how did you manage to wake up in a staircase in Budapest 5 miles away from the hostel?
Yeah, I just went out partying with some people because I couldn't find the guys. I dropped these guys at the restaurant. I had to go back to the hostel. I can't remember even reason why. I came back, couldn't find anyone. So I just went out partying with some locals instead. I had no idea where the hostel was. So just kept down in a stairwell in Budapest instead. And then came back the next morning.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the first time that you've
Nope.
you've ended up in the wrong in the wrong location on tour. There's another question that's come in. This one's actually a lot close to home. In fact, he's sitting on the call with us. How did you manage to wake up in Gdansk and not Sopot?
I got on a train. I got on a train in the middle of the night from Sopot to Gdansk, which took me by surprise a bit in the morning as well. So yeah, I got punished quite badly for that one because I actually missed the first tour game of 2 games because I was in a different city. It was quite surprising to me because I woke. So yeah, I think I spent the night in the park. And the next day, thankfully for me, the weather was amazing. It was just like so warm there, so like it was absolutely fine. Just my t-shirt and my tour kilt, and I got up and I had my map to Sopot with me, and so I just went up to a local and went, "Sorry, can you show me where I am in this map?" Trying. Didn't really have any Polish, so. But this person sort of looked at me a bit funny, and then he sort of looks at the map and he turns around and he goes, "Not Sopot, not Sopot. Gdansk." It's like, oh shit. So yeah, I had to get back on a train back down to Sopot, but had missed the first match, which I got punished for quite brutally. I think my punishment was I was re-virginated, but for 3 tours. I'm a bit bitter about that one because it was a rogue judge on this tour because the actual tour judge was bedridden. He was so ill. I don't know if alcohol. He claims it wasn't alcohol. There's something else. Don't believe him. So he was incapacitated, and so Ross Hornsey took over the judgmentship, which should never be allowed because he's a vindictive, terrible person. Yeah, so I got 3 years of re-virginization off the back of that. So I think I was appropriately punished. I think also I had to play every minute of the second game, which wasn't quite as bad a punishment. But yeah, the re-virgination, that was a lot of pain.
Fantastic.
It's good fun, definitely. But so moving on, then I'd say it's tricky to nail Wilson down into one position in the backs, as you're one of our most experienced players, and since you promised not to drag it out, we'll let you run through your full favourite Northern 15 to play with.
Oh, cool!
Ready?
Yeah. So this is sort of the best players I've played with in my time at Northern. So the props, I'm going to go for Big John when he was still Big John, and Stampy. I think John's quality player, and he loves his scrummaging, although he's lost a bit of weight now. He's still got technique. I actually think his game away from the scrums got better, but since he lost weight, because he's carrying the ball in a better manner because he's not relying on the weight and stuff. But I think John's in there for his leadership as well. Brilliant leader in the field and off it too. Stampy, wow, just consistent. I mean, I don't remember having a bad game. He'll carry all day for you, and he's solid. He's not going to go backwards. So those are my props. Like someone like Candles is in there as an honorary mention, quality player. Hooker, there's a guy called Simon Atkinson we played with, and he was a beast. I mean, absolutely strong man. And he was actually one of these old school proper scrummaging hookers. So you talk to the props, and they said he takes so much of the pressure off us in the scrums. So I'd have him in there. I think Sam Shelley ran him close, and Ainsley Cheatley, he took me under his wing when I first came down the club. Really good guys too. I'm going to say big dog, Jerry Sanford in second row. Again, amazing guy, high energy levels, super fun to be around. Just the most positive guy you'll ever meet. A good ball carrier and just big heart. I think I'd make him a captain actually. I'm going to be a bit cheeky in this one, positional wise, just to try and squeeze the players I want in. I'm going to put Loggy in their second row. I think everyone knew what a player he was. So strong, solid carrier, mad as a sack of badgers, but a really good player to have around. So we drink the loggy.
I was actually that was so obviously you said this beforehand, and I know you're going to come on to them about why the second row for him, because I only remember him playing number 8.
He played second row for us. He's probably his more natural position was 8, but for this team, I wanted to get the best players on the pitch, and he could do a very serviceable job in the second row. And that's my ball carriers. So I've got Stampy, Big Dog, Loggy, I've got ball carriers, and then it means I can have my ball hogs on the back row. But I'll tell you, on my like Holland and Gollum, really good, could play really good for us. But Kenny, what was Kenny's surname? The guy with the right place.
Caught me there.
He was quality. I mentioned about Big John O'Leary. One guy actually I think Brent, really talented rugby player, but just didn't probably do himself justice. Greg Cranston. He was a talented guy, but I don't think his commitment was quite where his talent level was. And he was a penalty machine, so he's not in there because he gives away too many penalties.
Also, the only ball-kicking lock I've ever seen.
I don't know. Cal will have something to say about that. Cal can stick the boot on it. We used to let him kick the touch. Cal, smash it.
That just rides wrong to me as a back. No, you can't have forwards kick into corners or points.
So back row, I'll move on. The back row was the hardest one because they've been played with so many brain back rowers. So like people like Jason and Dom and Josh Stewart, Jibby. I think Jibby couldn't understand a word he says, and I'm Irish. But what a player, and such a really intelligent rugby player as well. Fantastic. Ollie Legg, name from the past, really good number 8. Played with. I've gone for like 3 really mobile guys in the back row. So at 6, I'm going for Tom Moss, who was he didn't play for us that long, but he was proper quality. Once he was over the ball, you weren't shifting him. He was excellent player. At 7, I am going for Christophe Des. So Christophe was a French guy. I think he's from Toulouse. And I came across, and he was there before I was. And apparently he'd never played rugby before, even though he was from Toulouse. And I think he started off in the centres, but one day he just said, "Look, I would like to try 7. Can I try 7?" I went, "Yeah," and probably the best 7 I've ever played with. He was a French judo champion. So he wasn't the biggest guy in the world. He was only 5'9" or something, but he took off his shirt and he was just ripped across here, but not show muscle, just proper strength muscle, and he just took the ball off people constantly. He was really, really brilliant player, very, very quiet guy, just did all his talking on the pitch. 8, I'm going to have to go for Jeremy Dabrowski, just for sheer skill levels. Forwards have played with, he's the best hands. He could have played anywhere in our team. He could have played anywhere in the back line. He could have played 10 for us. The 1, 2, his hands were fantastic. Really good. Just the run off. You just run off him, he will get you the ball. He'll get it to you. You run a line, he'll get it to you. And his trademark pirouette move, fantastic. Moving to 9. Honorary mentions he spills there, especially for his longevity and sneakiness. Adam Buckman. I don't know if people knew about him. He was a fantastically skillful player, but wasn't there long. Rumor has it Spills had him killed, but I'm going to go for Barry O'Day. And Barry, and I love him, and this is meant in the nicest possible way, but if someone pointed out Barry in a pub gig and said, "See that guy there, the beardy guy with a slightly blank look in his face," and he said to you, "That guy is a magic 9 on the pitch," you wouldn't believe him. He just doesn't look like the skills he has. But best pass, I've played with at Northern, but he also good rugby brain, knows when to put the boot to, knows when you go for a gap. But his delivery is just fantastic. So Big Baz just gets it. Moving to 10, I'm being a bit cheeky maybe in position-wise here, but again, just trying to get the best players in. I'm going to go for Lachlan Burles. At 10, I don't think I've ever seen someone dominate a match from 10 as much as when he did. I don't know if it was Lismore or Liberton.
I think it was Liberton, 4 tries.
4 tries, but he got like 7. He got 7 turnovers from 10. And so at his skill level, it's just a shame injuries curtailed his career, both for Northern and obviously for much better clubs than us. But
Australia.
He was just, yeah, he was just such a talented player. So really enjoyed watching him play. Centres was like the back row. God, there've been so many really good ones. Like people like Andy Hunter, Drew Chapman, Robbie these days, Jake Breslin. Really like Ben Guerin. I don't know if these guys played much of Ben. Ben, quality player again. Probably hasn't played enough as much for Northern as I'd like him to. He just picks great lines, really good lines. He's fun if you're playing inside him because you just know he'll run a brilliant line for you. You just pop the ball in and he just cuts through.
Well,
really underrated player.
I was going to say, but the last game I saw Ben play was against, I think it's either, I can't remember which.
Storfin, was it Storfin?
Yeah, when he scored a hat trick in the space of 7.5 minutes after coming on.
Really quality guy.
Yeah,
quality guy and good fun off the pitch too. So there's been loads of guys. The two I'm going to go for, they're guys who played a while ago. Inside centre, going for Mark Ivory. I think he came from London Scottish. He played at a decent level, but he could like double miss pass off both hands. Big lad, could hit hard. Just a real talent. And at 13, I'm going to go Sam Llewellyn. Kiwi, about my size, no bigger, but whoa, he just knew how to play. He knew how to create space. He knew how to hit lines. Probably the best defensive centre I've played with for a guy that was quite slight. Never missed a tackle. And again, a really good lad. And he actually helped my game come on, playing in the outside backs. Really good guy, and helped teach you what to do. 15. So 15, I put in Alex Laird at 15. So it's a way of getting Alex on my team and getting him a bit more space and playing at 10. Best sidestep I've ever played with. I mean, still sells people in the gents games today. It's hilarious. Defensively, so much stronger than people think or remember him at. Absolute monster in defense. Loves to hit. Bit of red mist every so often. Bit of an angry man sometimes in his day. It was quite interesting when we had him as captain. He was like, probably shouldn't have a volatile person screaming at the ref, but just absolutely fantastic talented player with the boot, running the ball, passing. Could definitely play at a much higher level, but we were happy to have him on our side, and I think putting him at 15 gives him a bit more space. All the guys I had there, like Jimmy Hackett, really good player, 10, 15 as well, really smooth runner, and the guy who hasn't made the team, Chris Aiken. I think Chris is unlucky here because he had to play 10 for us because we didn't have 10s. But it wasn't his natural position, but he did a brilliant job there. But I mean, when you slot him in the centre or fullback, we're probably more of his position. Fantastic, but he just misses out. Wings has some really good ones too. I think at the minute Jamie Thompson's like really playing very well. Lukey Lewis and Doug Younger, really good guys to play with. But I'm going to go for Mike Pollock on one wing. Super quick, huge boot. Doug did make his tackles in the wing. He would often complain about it, but he would make his tackles. He didn't actually miss many, even though did play one game with him, and I think we had a few injuries, and someone asked him to play in the centre, and he flat refused. He wouldn't move in the centre. But a very good player, attacking-wise, good hands, huge boot, very quick. And on the lower wing, I'm going to go for a guy who's played everywhere. He played second row for us and stuff, but Dougal Nicol, just for out-and-out commitment. That guy was a legend to play with. I mean, he'd die on the pitch for you. He's that kind of guy, and he was just fun to play with. He was a bit loose too, which we always enjoyed. But quality guy, and so hard to bring down. If you got the ball in the wing, he'd have big long levers, and he would just hold people off at arm's length. Really fun guy to play with. So that's my 15. Yeah, that would be a pretty devastating team. It would win a lot of games.
Exactly. Yeah, agree. But there you go, Michael. Neither of us feature. So joining us next time on the Cockerel cast is hopefully somebody great, your hosts.
It's not.
Jace, you got in the honourable mentions at least.
I didn't know. I feel quite.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, being known.
Michael, you're another guy that's been punished for playing out of his position.
What prop? Yeah,
I didn't say it.
Northern's top try scorer in the the 2010s, I think, technically. But not that anyone's counting on Pitchero. So I feel like it'd be remiss, given your reputation, Wilson, to not have you on and ask for, and I'm going to limit you to your top three, your favourite pro and international players of all time, because you are a scholar of the game. So your top three, it can be pros, it can be 100 test caps, like your top three players that maybe influenced your career or your playing style.
Probably go for so. Actually, if you're talking about influences, probably actually Simon Gagan, 90s winger for Ireland, and I think people are spoiled now. We're spoiled now because people think of Ireland as a really good rugby team. We were shit. We were so shit for so long. When I grew up in the 80s and early 90s, if we won a Six Nations match, that was a success. If we won 2 or 5 Nations back in, that was cause for celebration. But we had a blonde-haired guy in the wings, Simon Gagan. He wasn't the most skillful, but he was hardworking, give everything. So I've sort of really growing up as a winger, he was probably my inspiration. You've obviously got, coming in the more modern Irish generation, O'Driscoll. To see someone who's from your country being probably the best in his position there's ever been is a really good thing, and it sort of builds your confidence in your country as well, and there will be a follow. Style-wise, I do love your small jinky guys, because that's what I am at the end of the day. Small jinky, trying to beat people with feet rather than going over the top of them. So someone like a Shane Williams, or more of a modern day one, Cheslin Colby, is really excited. Everyone's excited to watch him now, but maybe before him, maybe Shane Williams, and even before him, what's the league convert England scorer?
Jason Robinson,
that's it. So those kind of guys who used their footwork and drew guys in and just made them look a bit silly. I really enjoy watching those guys play, and those are the guys I really enjoy watching now.
Fantastic.
So I think we'll introduce our listener questions then. Michael, if you want to lead us through them.
Yeah, no, I'm quite happy to do that.
Is this where it gets rough, does it?
Well, no, I think you got off easy actually. We didn't get as much. I thought we were going to get a lot of darkness. We didn't. So the first one is from @IanCranky2013. Why does Ricky Fowler wear orange when he plays golf?
Classic one. Ricky Fowler, I think it was University of Oklahoma was his college, where he played all his golf. They play in orange. So on his final day of all the tournaments, he plays head to toe in orange.
Fantastic. And Ian Cranky's got a follow-up question, which is obviously more about rugby. He asks, were you taught to pass at school, or is it something you think other players should do?
I actually think that's a little bit harsh. I think I've really changed my game a lot. I used to be, didn't pass, just run everything, never kicked the ball. If you told someone who played for me 10 years ago that Wilson would at times play fly half for the ones, kicking for touch and kicking for goal, wouldn't have believed you. I've changed a lot. I actually get lots more satisfaction now making that pass for the try rather than actually scoring myself. I actually really enjoy setting people up or putting someone through a line break. I actually get more satisfaction in that now than I think it's just because I can't do anything else now. I can't go around people or through people anymore.
I was going to say that seems to be quite common. Andrew Spiller had the same answer, so maybe it's your twilight years.
It's age. It's an age thing.
More about the assists and the glory. I'm not sure what my excuse is though. Just being overweight. So the next question comes in from @original Skinny Doran, and again it's 2 questions. Excuse me for the foul language. Did you really shit yourself the night the ambulance came for you at the bunker?
No, and I don't know which Doran this is. Is that Paddy or Tony?
The original skinny ones. You decide which one.
Yeah, well, Tony called an ambulance when there was completely no need to go on ambulance, which is another story. But hey, all the best people get carried out of Northern at one stage in RA, Jason.
True.
Yep, completely agree. And again from original Skinny Doran, so maybe it's one from each brother, you never know. Sorry, I'm just reading it and I can't stop laughing at it. Is it your personality or aftershave that repels women?
It would definitely be personality. Personality, dress sense. No, I actually do all right for myself. Considering my chats is that bad, I think I've done okay over the years.
Yeah, quite true.
Must be the aftershave.
I was going to say,
it's the Sex Panther, 6% of the time it works every time.
I was going to say, I've always found you very interesting, William Wilson. But then again, I didn't have tits up until lockdown. So, and another question from at Babysitter in Japan. What is your favourite flavour of strong zero and why?
I think just the classic lemon. The dry lemon's probably the best. There's some decent ones in there. I would stay away from the one that was, I think there was one that was about 18% or something. So I'd stay away from that one. The original lemon version. I tried them all. Nothing topped that first one. Perfect thing to start the morning, kick you off again, re-wake and everything about 10 a.m.
Well done.
Fantastic.
So if that's it, Mike, I'll round up.
I think that's it from our listeners.
Sorry, yeah, just quickly. So, what are you most looking forward to in life in terms of normal, Wilson? Sport. Really, I'm a bit of a sport freak. Watch it, play it, everything. Just want to go. Guys, as we've kind of alluded to, I'm getting a bit old these days. The body's starting to fall apart, so I haven't got much rugby left in me. So I don't want much more of it stolen because of this virus. I want to play as much as I can. I was fortunate enough to actually come back from rugby after a really bad injury a number of years ago, and that really brought it home that you only get so many years playing rugby, really. So you've got to enjoy it when you can, play as much as you can while you can. It's for my motto.
It's quite interesting you say that, actually, because I've talked about that kind of pause in your career and potentially coming to the end of your career. Do you not think that might extend it a wee bit more? Give you another couple of that time recovering, not kind of playing, might give you and Spills and maybe Jason a couple of more seasons in them.
It's a possibility. I don't think so. If anything, it's harder because you're losing the fitness. So like I couldn't run for a year and a bit. Mm-hmm. And you lose all the fitness, and it's hard to get that fitness back, and you put weight on that you don't want to put on, and it's very hard to shift, especially when I was in my 30s already when it's happened. I don't think so. No, I don't think it's added anything. I think it was not a positive experience anyway.
No. I was talking about the lockdown, not your actual broken ankle.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying breaking your ankle good for your career.
Oh, sorry. No, I misinterpreted your question there. No, I don't think the lockdown is bad. It's not helping. It's not helping anyone. Okay. Don't think so.
Fair enough. Cheers. Well, so next time on the Cockerel cast, we'll be speaking to another former captain and also former big man, John Latham. So please tune in for that. But for now, Wilson, thanks for your time, and a personal thanks for me for recommending RFC to me. Stay safe, and let's hope we can enjoy a good catch up in the bunker before long.
Cheers,
Thank you very much, Wilson. Cheers.
All right.